We find that families are opting to have the entire service at the graveside, whether they were very well known in the community or not. It's more of a streamlined way to officiate at the end of life. That being said, there are options. Some funeral homes have a chapel where a memorial service would take place, where the casket is laid out in front of those assembled, and the appropriate prayers and eulogies are delivered in that place, whether it's in a chapel or it's at a synagogue, and then there would be a car processional to the gravesite, where that ceremony would be more simple and contained, of pretty much accompanying the casket to the grave, and then the burial with the El Maleh, the memorial prayer, and the mourner's Kaddish.
Can I say something that, so in the case of inclement weather, it's more comfortable to have the service inside. But now in Florida, we have a lot of good weather. So people often opt for having the service all at graveside. And now that we have sound systems with the microphone and speakers, it makes it easier for everybody to hear. And whether the person was very well known in the community, it used to be people thought we needed a space for people who are well known to hold all the people. We've had graveside funerals with a couple hundred people there, and that was chosen for the comfort of the families. So most of the services nowadays that we've had here are graveside.
Yes. So we can take you through the process of what happens at the burial. Typically, the casket is brought accompanied from the hearse to the burial site with pallbearers and appropriate verses from the Psalms that accompany the body to the grave. Once the casket is placed above the grave on these kind of like rollers, the rest of the ceremony will proceed. Often at that particular time, the family will do the ritual called kriya. That's a ripping of the clothes, if somebody chooses to rip their garment, which is the traditional modality of grief as a response to hearing about your loved one's death. In modern days, or in some communities, I should say, you might choose to just rip a little black ribbon that the funeral home provides. The officiant would guide you through the prayer to say, "Blessed is the righteous judge, Baruch Dayan Ha'emet," and acknowledge in sort of a private way the grief that the family is experiencing at that moment. After the kriya, the tearing of the ribbon or of the clothes, the formal ritual and ceremony of the burial proceeds.
Usually opened up with some selection from the Psalms or from Ecclesiastes, and then we go right into the eulogies. And the eulogies can be offered by family members that have prepared some thoughts and recollections of their loved ones, or by the officiant, by the rabbi at that time. And we always say you can't say everything about the deceased in a short time, but we try to make a tribute to them, and it's a way of paying respect to the dead to offer eulogies.
And a eulogy might include a contemporary poem or a song, personal reflections. The rabbi or the officiant can only say so much. The officiant will be able to speak to the life of this person to the extent that those stories are shared with the officiant. So it is usually welcome for other family members or close friends to fill in and to provide some additional details or personal stories that help everyone assembled feel close and feel like they understand a little bit more about the loved one who is being buried.
Especially the people who weren't that close or are coming to pay their respects by attending the funeral. And after the eulogies are given, then we ask that the coffin be lowered into the grave. And while that's being done, perhaps another scriptural reading is recited, something from the Psalms as the coffin is being lowered. And at that point, we ask the family to fulfill the commandment of burying their dead by placing some soil onto the coffin. That the cemetery offers some soil and a shovel to offer that, to put the soil on there. That moment is kind of fraught with a lot of emotion, especially that first shovel of soil. And you may have seen before the custom of turning the shovel over. It's not a mitzvah, it's not a commandment, but it's a custom to show that our lives are turned over by the death of this person, or that we're not doing something mundane as we would digging in the garden, but we're doing a commandment and something loving. But you can turn the shovel over and shovel normally after the first symbolic one. Some families choose to actually fill in the whole grave with soil. If that's your family's tradition, then you would tell the funeral home that ahead of time, and the cemetery can arrange for that.
Right, and often people who are participating in that burial using the shovel, if you have a lot of people who are participating in that moment, the shovel is not normally passed one person to another, but the shovel is then placed back into the mound of dirt so that the next person can take it out. And it just shows a slowing down of the process, a more contemplative and mindful practice of that very fraught time of the burial.
People also feel like this is their way of showing their respect or of saying goodbye to the person by placing the soil on there. If there are a lot of people at the funeral, we ask that just the family members or just the close ones put the soil on there, and if anybody would like to also do that, for the sake of timing, then we ask everyone to just wait till the end of the service, and then they can come back. And people do that. They'll come back and put their soil onto the coffin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After that part of the service, when the soil is, that's the time when we ask people to rise for the memorial prayer, El Mole Rachamim, which asks God to take the loved one into God's care, and that they're memorialized in our memory, and that their spiritual life, their spirit will live on in all of us. And then we ask the family members who are present to say the words of the mourner's Kaddish. That's the first time that they'll say Kaddish, is at the gravesite at that moment. And after saying Kaddish, that's really the end of the service. At the end of the service, usually one of the officiants or the funeral director will guide people to make 2 rows so that the family can pass through those 2 rows as a symbol of comfort. And we say those initial words of comfort from our tradition, Hamakom yinechem etchem b'tosha ar ve'le'yisir b'Yerushalayim. They should be comforted among the other mourners of Jerusalem and Zion at that time. The family walks through the rows, and you can see it is a moment of comfort for them.
And that moment in the burial is where we're recognizing that these Jewish mourners are connected to all Jewish mourners of all the people Israel. May you be comforted among all the people Israel, among Jerusalem. We're connecting ourselves to the place of Israel by including some dirt, a little packet of earth that is from Israel in the burial, along with the local earth that we use to cover the grave. So we recognize, like, in place, in body, and in spirit, that we are all one people. The Psalms also that we recite throughout the ceremony of the burial are generally reflective of the fragility of life, and some of them reflect on the kind of righteous people that the ancient Psalms reflect, and who those who are being buried, their acts and the choices that they made in their lives, are connected back through these ancient words and the ancient wisdom. So the selection in the typical service, I think you'll hear some of them over and again, such as Psalm 121 or Psalm 23. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. I think there are words that we say at many funerals that they resonate through the years, they resonate with the soul, and often they resonate with the individual that we're burying, and they're powerful words.